Beachwood, Ohio, whether you thought about moving here or not, the city gets a lot of attention, being named the #2 suburb of Cleveland a few years ago. But does it still stand up to that rating? We're going over the amenities, the schools, the crime, the real estate, the pros and the cons, including a couple reasons why I might not move here myself. So you can decide if this place is right for you or not when moving to Northeast Ohio. Let's go. So Beachwood, Ohio is known for its highly rated schools, a little bit lower property taxes, variety of houses, and great walkability, with almost 90% of the roads having sidewalks, tons of amenities, and pro number one, which is its location. So Beachwood is only about 10 miles east of downtown Cleveland. It's fairly small. It's only about 5 square miles. There's about 14,000 residents here, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of commercial and industrial area that brings a lot of people from different areas in here. So Beachwood sits right along 271. To your east is Pepper Pike, Moreland Hills, Hunting Valley, some of the highest property values in Northeast Ohio. And then you have more rural country suburbs like Chesterland, Novelty, some farms, apple orchards, really awesome parks like North Chagrin. If you want that rural country feel and activities, that's only 10 minutes to your east. Then over to your west is Shaker Heights, University Heights, great restaurants, Van Aken, University Circle, which is basically a mini Cleveland, Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland Clinic, the museums, you have Little Italy, and of course downtown Cleveland is really only 30 minutes away. You have Playhouse Square, sports stadiums, lots of good stuff to the west. Now, thanks to 271 being right here, the airport is only 30 minutes away. Edgewater Beach is 35 minutes. Gordon Park and Marina, if you love boating, there's 2 on-ramps, which is really nice. One on the north side of Beachwood right here, and then one down on the south side. So wherever you live in Beachwood, it's pretty close to freeway access. That's why it's so easy to get everywhere. So even if we want to go to the west side, it's only about 30-40 minutes to Lakewood. Downtown Tremont, Ohio City is even closer. That's kind of the cool, like, walkable area of Cleveland. Lots of restaurants, bars. West Side Market is right there. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. And this is the big reason people like this area. It's just easy to get everywhere and easy to get out of Beachwood versus somewhere like Cleveland or Shaker Heights, where it's a lot harder because you don't have the freeway right there. I will say, though, if you go to downtown Cleveland, you're going to end up on 480 and 271. The traffic during rush hour in those two areas can kind of suck. That all adds on to your 30-minute drive. I've sat on 480 waiting for an accident during rush hour for like 45 solid minutes, not moving at all. To me, that's a lot. But if you live in Florida, that's basically every day. Here, it's a little more hit and miss, so it's not like you're guaranteed to hit traffic every single day, but just be aware of that. So back to Beachwood itself. Before we get into this, if you guys are looking to move into Northeast Ohio or around or sell your house in Northeast Ohio, I'm a local realtor here. I work in this area all the time. Give me a call, text, email anytime you want. But let's get into Beachwood, Ohio. We're going to start on the north side of Beachwood and work our way down through the amenities, then talk about some of the pros and cons and the real estate here so you can see what it's like living here. So we're going to start up in Legacy Village. This is just a large outdoor shopping center. You have a couple of restaurants there. You have the Cheesecake Factory, shops like LL Bean, Dick's Sporting Goods, Our House. Then there's this really nice walkable area in the center. That's why a lot of people come to this area. A couple cafes, coffee shops, things like that. They have an annual art show in Legacy Village, which is really great. They have a ton of vendors there, but they have a ton of events here. They have farmers markets every month in the summer. Lots of stuff going on like that. And if you're looking for like your daily grocery stores, places that you go on a normal basis, you've got a Giant Eagle right in Legacy Village. There's also a Heinen's in University Heights. So if you live on the north side of Beachwood, you're probably going to hit those two places for your like everyday shopping. Then you also have your Costco a few minutes north in Mayfield Heights, which is really easy drive because the freeway is right there. There's a Home Depot. There's some great restaurants up there. East Coast Custard is awesome. And Arrabbiata's Italian food is one of my favorites there as well. Acacia Reservation is also up here, which is a pretty decent park. There's a few trails in there. It's really nice to have in the middle of the city congestion. If you're a park person like me, you've got North Chagrin close by, you have South Chagrin, then you have Bedford Reservation, all within 10 to 15 minutes. And then of course, you want to go 20, 30 minutes, Cuyahoga Valley National Park. The entire Cleveland Metro Park system is within 30 minutes. So just south of there, on the other side of the road, is Beachwood Mall. I'm not a huge mall person. I don't think a lot of people are anymore because you have these outdoor walkable areas like Legacy Village. There's a Saks Fifth Avenue in there. Never been in there in my life. So let's move on. Pro number 2 is the schools. While we're on the north side of Beachwood, we have Hilltop Elementary, and then on the south side is Bryden Elementary, and then right in the middle of Beachwood is the middle and high school. This is another huge reason why people move to this area, because the schools here have an A+ rating on niche.com, where they say Beachwood is the #2 best school district in the Cleveland area. USnews.com puts them at number 17 in Cleveland area and 56 in all of Ohio. And Beachwood City Schools, they say they received a 5-star rating, time for 6th in the state for the 2023 Ohio Report Card. Of course, they're going to say great things about themselves, but you have these other ratings from websites to back them up. Full disclaimer, I can't really say anything about schools being good or bad. As a realtor, all I could do is point you to sources like this and the data from US News and niche.com. There's also a lot of highly rated private schools in the area as well. I know a few people that send their kids to those that are not just from Beachwood, but a lot of cities around here. So moving down through Beachwood, one really awesome place is the Beachwood Pool Aquatic Center and Playground, which is huge. This is really for residents only at a membership or drop-in fee, which is really minimal. I think for a family of 4, it's only about $200. For an individual, it's $60 or $72, which is insanely cheap for what you get here. You can bring guests here as well for an extra fee. And if you work in Beachwood, you can be a member here also. Otherwise, you have to come with someone and be their guest if you don't live or work in Beachwood. They have splash pads here, slides, diving pool. Right next door is this massive playground, which is brand new. There's a community garden space here. There's a community center. There's tennis and pickleball courts. They used to have a disco and luau party event nights with this dessert truck, concert series throughout the summer, and movie nights as well. I don't know what their plans are for the 2025 schedule, but if you check out the Beachwood City website, I'll link that in the description below. There's everything you need to know about these cool things and the amenities in Beachwood. They did a really great job with this website. They show the art gallery, the Barkwood Dog Park, the playground, the City Park East and West, fitness park, pickleball, all the great stuff about Beachwood. Now, south of here, you have the schools, Beachwood Library, Beachwood City Park, which is pretty small. There's Barkwood Dog Park there, which is really cute. It's really fun. And then you have the little outdoor fitness area and some trails and park walking area through the City Park East and West, which is another nice green space area right within Beachwood. As we move down, you have the Malt Museum of Jewish History, which is pretty cool and well known in this area. You also have the Beachwood Mandel Jewish Community Center, which is like a 40-acre campus. It's open to non-residents. They have indoor and outdoor pools, tennis and pickleball courts, full workout facility, and they have this really cool Preston Hope playground area right next to it, these little houses and everything. It's a lot of fun. Then you have a couple residential neighborhoods, a Brown Bryden Elementary, and the Canterbury Golf Course, which is quite exclusive by invite only, I hear. I recently heard that Arnold Palmer has a locker there. They've hosted several major championships, the US Open, the PGA. It's ranked as one of the top 10 golf courses in Ohio by Golf Digest. You guys probably know I'm not a huge golfer, so I have no personal experience with that at all. If you do, let me know in the comments how it actually is. Anyway, the rest of Beachwood is mostly industrial. A couple things on the very south side. Before we talk about pros and cons and drive some neighborhoods, you do have Ahuja Medical Campus, which is very large and constantly expanding. Then you cross the street, you have Cuyahoga County Community College has a campus just south of Beachwood. There's a few grocery stores down here as well. Basically have grocery stores on the north side, and then you have some on the very south side. There's a Giant Eagle, there's a Trader Joe's, there's a Heinen's over in the Eaton Plaza, which has a lot of different restaurants. I think there's an Apple store over there still. Aldi's in the Harvard Plaza with a Panera Bread. There's also Whole Foods, and I really like their mushroom pizza that they make in this little restaurant there. I actually like that better than going over to Panera. They have a lot of good stuff there. But then you have this newer Pinecrest Plaza, which is really popular even outside of Beachwood. I know people who come from Shaker, Chagrin, even Hudson to hang out there and go to the restaurants and walk around the stores and shops. They have a movie theater there. Kitchen Social is really popular. They have pretty good food. I give them an 8 out of 10. I'm a little picky, but it's pretty good. Then you have Pinstripes right in the corner. There's some little shops, donut shop, coffee shop in there. It's fun to just walk around. It's nice to have a second like downtown, like walkable area within Beachwood because you have the Legacy Village on the north side, then you got this down on the south side. Before we get to the pros and cons in real estate, let's talk about crime. Full disclosure, I can't say whether an area is good or bad, whether it's safe or not safe. All I can do is show third-party sources. Like Neighborhood Scout, because it gives you an overview, it talks about real estate, it shows you the economics, demographics, schools, crime, everything right there. So for crime for Beachwood, it says they are a number 17. 100 is the safest. It says safer than 17% of US cities. Violent crime, the rate is 0.87, which is significantly under the national median of 4 and under the state median of 2.87. That's violent crime. Property crime, that's a little higher. They give it a 21.41, which is higher than the national median and also higher than the state median. City data, I kind of like this website because it gives you a rundown of different areas around there. So they say Beachwood is 116, higher means more crime. Beachwood's 116, Pepper Pike is 47, University Heights is 65, Shaker Heights is 30, Orange is 98, South Euclid is 142. So it's not the highest one. Woodmere is 249. It's not the highest one, but it's also not the lowest. Then niche.com I like because it usually gives a lot of information. Right here, it just says it's a B rating, and that's about it. They do get an A+ overall grade. And if you scroll down, it shows you crime in similar areas. Shaker Heights is an A+, Rocky River, Avon Lake, Westlake. Those are over on the west side, so it doesn't really matter. So let's go over the pros. Number one was the location. We talked about that. It's super convenient. That freeway access is a lifesaver. It's 30 minutes to wherever you want. The schools, the biggest reason people move, jobs, family, and schools. Beachwood has the ratings. They also have the jobs with that large industrial area or commercial area. Con number 3 is the jobs. Beachwood brings a lot of jobs to this area. Major companies like UH, Eaton, Embassy Healthcare. And then outside of Beachwood in like Mayfield Heights, you have Rockwell and Hillcrest. Solon has Nestle and Swagelok. The Heights have John Carroll, Metro Health. If you go on their website, they say Beachwood is a thriving commercial hub that is home to 2,500 businesses. And Beachwood typically attracts more than 100,000 people every day for business, healthcare, shopping, and entertainment. Pro number 4, I think we're on 4 now. Pro number 4 is the taxes. Although they're not super cheap, they're still around 2 to 2.5% of your property value for property taxes, which is still much better than somewhere like Shaker Heights or Cleveland Heights, where it's almost double that. Beachwood is pretty similar to a lot of cities in Northeast Ohio, though, and Beachwood has a RETA tax rate, which is your regional income tax for the city, of only 2%, and they do offer a credit if you live in Beachwood, but if you work in another city, sometimes you have to pay both of those. So if you live and work in Beachwood, you're paying 2% of your income to the city in tax. So for property tax, for example, a $500,000 property in Beachwood might have a $6,000 to $9,000 a year property tax bill, and the same property in Shaker Heights for $500,000 would probably have a $12,000 to $18,000 annual tax bill. Pro number 5, shopping and walkability. There's a lot in Beachwood, as you saw. It's pretty easy to get to since you're only covering 5 square miles, and there's sidewalks everywhere, so you can walk to places. Depending on where you are in Beachwood, you might not be walking to your grocery store, but it's only a couple minutes drive. Then you have all these amenities that some cities don't have. These parks, dog parks, golf courses, water park. A lot of people I work with that leave Beachwood say this is the thing that they miss the most, being within 2 minutes to all that stuff. Last pro, we kind of mentioned this, was the freeway access. Even on a Friday night, if you want to go to Playhouse Square or downtown Cleveland, it's 30 minutes in, 30 minutes out, really easy. So let's talk about the cons, starting with a couple reasons I probably personally wouldn't live there. This is just personal reference. If you thought I was going to say this city is the worst, don't move here, I'm not. Con number 1, it's really busy. Like their website says, they bring in about 100,000 people. There's traffic, there's congestion, especially around the stores and main roads. Sometimes it takes me 15 minutes to get out of the Target parking lot, especially during Christmas shopping season. There's just a lot going on there. Personally, I prefer to be outside of that and then go into it when I want to, but I know a lot of people that love being right in the center of that. I kind of compare this a little bit to Solon because Solon's also kind of busy and congested in some areas, but if you want somewhere that's a little slower, Chagrin Falls, Hudson, Pepper Pike, even Shaker Heights doesn't have the large amount of people coming in or the large amount of employers, so there aren't as many people in and out of there and driving around in Shaker Heights every day. Another con, they're smaller lots. They're pretty decent size, but there's nothing over an acre. Some of them are half an acre, maybe a quarter or under. We'll talk more about that when we talk about real estate. But you're not getting an acre plus here. I like a little more space, but if you don't need it and you don't want to take care of it, Beachwood is probably a great option. Con number 3 is the snow belt. This is a lot of Northeast Ohio, but for example, Hudson, just 20 miles south, gets 20 inches less of snow per year than Beachwood does. If you hate snow, I honestly don't know why you're watching this video to begin with, but be prepared for that if you're thinking about moving to Beachwood. Last con is about real estate. We'll talk about all the great things when we drive around, but there's a really limited housing stock here. The houses are a little bit more expensive. That's true everywhere right now. There's limited inventory, but Beachwood has pretty much no land for sale right now. So when people want to build a new, larger house, they kind of have to buy something smaller, tear down, and build a $1.5 million house. Also because of the school ratings, jobs, everything else, all the great things about Beachwoods, houses are a little more expensive here. If you go 2 minutes north to somewhere like Lyndhurst, South Euclid, Mayfield Heights, you're definitely going to get more house for your money. Those markets don't necessarily go as high in price or as large as Beachwood. So I want to show you some of the real estate here so you get an idea of what it's like living here and driving around. So the average price here is about $450,000 in 2025. The great thing about Beachwood is there's a really large range of houses from about 250,000 up to 1.2 million, maybe 1.5 million. I think the highest was around 1.8, but that's pretty rare. Realistically, if you're on the more affordable side, I'd probably say 300 to 400 now. 250 is kind of rare. It's probably gonna need a lot of work, but it is possible. There's also condos. There's not a lot, but there are a few. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 clusters of neighborhoods. The largest one is right here on the northern side. These are some townhomes. They're basically full-size houses just attached to each other. And those range from about $300,000 up to $700,000 if you want to be on the lake. But the majority of Beachwood is single-family houses. If you're looking in $300,000 to $500,000 range, a lot of those are going to be up on the northwestern side of Beachwood in this one neighborhood right here. There are more sprinkled throughout the city, so you can find them. 500 to 800,000 is pretty well distributed throughout Beachwood, wherever you want to go. Then a million plus, there's a couple clusters here, just below that 300 to 500 neighborhood. And then a few others here and there. Million plus, there's maybe 15 houses sold last year, so it's not a huge amount of the inventory. What's funny about Beachwood is some areas you'll have specific price points, like streets will be 300 to 500. Then there are, $800,000 streets in neighborhoods. But then you have a lot of areas where there's a $400,000 house, and then 3 doors down you have an $800,000 house, and then right across the street is a $1.5 million new construction. So it's kind of funny to drive around these areas. Somewhere like Shaker Heights, you have neighborhoods that are kind of, this one's 300,000, this one's 500, this one's 800. And there's not a whole lot of variation within those. So lot sizes, this is what I appreciate, and this is kind of a pro of Beachwood. Houses in Beachwood, compared to some surrounding cities, do have larger lots. If you want half an acre, room for a pool, maybe a fenced-in yard for the dog, you can get that here, and you can do it for under $500,000. Somewhere like Shaker Heights is mostly a quarter an acre or smaller. And I keep mentioning Shaker because it's right next door. Cleveland Heights, University Heights, they're all kind of similar. But you get a quarter an acre or less, which is perfectly fine if you have a tiny dog like my pug Paddington. He's fat and lazy. But if you have larger dogs, it is nice to have those options in that price point. So that is about everything I know about Beachwood, at least the most useful stuff. So if you want to move here or sell your house here, give me a call. I'm always available. And thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. Goodbye.